Uh-huh.
Hey, everybody.
Max.
Hey, Kendall.
Oh, hello.
Hello,
We're all
Kendall.
here. We're all here.
Hi, Ash.
Evening, gents.
All right, so Skinwalkers. We, we're here to learn about them from a full-blooded Navajo.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Kendall. So let's let the white guys talk for a second, right?
Yep.
When you think of when you think of Skinwalkers, what do you
Yeah.
think of? Like, what's the first thing comes to your mind?
Well, I mean,
Uh, uh, Assume that we haven't been educated for years and years by Ash at this point.
okay. Well, I'll just put it this way. Before I knew Ash, when somebody said Skinwalker to me, I thought of, um, like a guy with a coyote pelt on his back, and he like looked all feral and scruffy, and he was naked, and there was like blood on him, and he was like jumping out of a bush at somebody, and like he was like half transformed into a wolf thing kind of deal. What about you, Max? Before you knew Ash? What did you think a Skinwalker was?
Actually, this is gonna sound crazy. I'd never heard the term before I knew Ash.
Well, I had a little bit of exposure just from growing up and going to Knott's Berry Farm a whole lot, and
Okay.
they would do like the Navajo dances there, and there's an attraction still there today, called the Mystery Lodge. Anyway, I remember some after the ride they had some Navajo and they were talking, and somebody had mentioned it, and they said, "Oh, don't scare the kids," and then they started to talk about it, and they said they made it seem like this horrible, like half man, half wolf demon thing, and that's all I'd ever heard of it. And I was a little kid at the time, and I never, this was like young me, and I never was really exposed to that kind of stuff.
You know,
So and I never like nowadays if I hear something weird I just Google it on my phone or go home and Google it. Back then I didn't know, so like that's the only thing I knew about it for years and years and years, and then I kind of forgot about the term and the whole idea until recently, when we got to start hanging out with Ash, and then we started to dive into different kind of cryptid things, through the YouTube channel, and eventually that led us to talking about skinwalkers, and my
Right.
whole perception of the idea of like an American Wolfman was shattered, and honestly, the real thing is way more interesting than what the media, not so much the media, but what like Hollywood tries to sell you in like movies and books and things.
I take it back that I had never heard the term. I had heard the term, but I never made much of it. I remember listening to Art Bell when I was younger, not too much younger, early teens or whatever, and he had what's his face on there talking about Skinwalker Ranch, and this is a whole other episode, but I remember not really connecting Skinwalker to anything because they were talking about Bigfoot and lights in the sky and stuff that wasn't what I would call now Skinwalkery. I just thought it was called that because it was kind of a creepy thing to call a place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that is why it's called that. But that's a whole other episode. That's the only time I'd heard it before then. And then because of that, I kind of let it go. And I think I might have had a little book when I was a kid that had like chupacabra stories and myths and all these kinds of things in there that had something that might have said Skinwalker or Wendigo or something that was kind of like that. That kind of rings a bell, but it was largely left behind by me because when we talk creepy, I like the squatch in the window, and and that's final. That's my final answer. So
Yeah.
so yeah, Skinwalkers never meant much to me, and then Ash comes on. He's like Skinwalkers. I guess we're gonna be 1/3 Skinwalker channel now.
Oh.
So anyway,
Well, real quick too, from what I can remember, I don't even think Skinwalkers have really been big in like movies and stuff. I think
No.
in the film Thunderheart, they make a reference to somebody being a Skinwalker, because they're chasing a guy and then they have him cornered in this like house, or it's not a house, it's like a single wide trailer basically.
it's a
Um,
house. It's an Navajos.
Whoa.
There's a movie called that's out there called Shadow Hunter,
hmm
and it's
And
kind of on the same premise where they're looking for something like that.
Yeah, and anyway, the guy, the police start walking to the thing, and then, you hear a loud noise, and all of a sudden, there goes a deer or whatever, and the guy's not in the house anymore. So I think
Oh.
they alluded to the Skinwalker thing, but they never really mentioned in heavy tone what was going on.
probably,
be
probably was a shapeshifter.
Yeah,
Shapeshifter.
possibly. Anyway, like I said, I had never really known what a Skinwalker was. I remember, hearing some guys talk about it at Knott's Berry Farm once, and then pretty much forgetting about it as a kid until
Yeah.
until we're all here now.
Well, speaking of that, all right, Ash, why should we care about what you have to say about skinwalkers?
Well, I'm full blown Navajo, and I have had some experience with them, and also my family has extensive experience with them. And just so that if any other Navajos come on, let me introduce myself in the traditional way so that they will know that I'm legit. So here we
I
go.
am Turok.
No,
How?
Can you
All
say
right.
it anyway?
I am Turok.
Okay. Okay. All right. No, for
Okay.
real.
Yat eshe ke edod shintene ashinishe St. Michael's dead na sha. Ashin dene en shle tchachini dene bashichin na kai dene et de dashache tchachini de dashanale akut ego has tinishle.
Wow.
So there you go.
Ichuta. Waba waba. Solo banta pudu. Okay. All right. Okay. So what did you just say?
I just introduced myself. I said my name's Ash. I said where I'm from. I gave my mother's clan, my dad's clan, my maternal grandfather's clan, and then my paternal grandfather's clan. And then I said, and that's how I'm a man.
And I heard Saint Michael.
St. Michael's is where my mother's from. That's where, so we call her
Gotcha.
mother's from.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. All right, makes sense. And you got your card that says you're 4/4 Navajo. It's so funny to me that there's actually a fraction on it that says 4/4.
Yeah.
4/4.
It's my pedigree, CIB.
I like to think that you wear it around your neck on a bandolier. A little badge. All right, so yeah, a lot of Skinwalker experience. Your
Oh,
family,
yeah.
your family does. Now, do you personally?
Do I personally have had experience?
Yeah.
Not as full blown or as extensive as my mother, my other family members have, but I have heard of it, and I've been in the area where there have been some around.
Okay, so now you've heard what our perception of what most white people and uneducated people think a Skinwalker is. Most people on the internet think a Skinwalker is.
Yeah.
Well, actually, a lot of people confuse the Skinwalker with the Rake or with
That irritates me.
or like
Wendigo?
a feral Bigfoot or Wendigo. Wendigo is what? Yeah, Wendigo is like the gateway from Skinwalker to Bigfoot because Wendigo just looks like a Bigfoot. I don't know. I don't even understand that.
Wendigo to me looks like a rake because they're spindly.
Yeah, but aren't they hairy too? I've seen some interpretations. Of like
I've seen interpretations of Wendigo. They're hairless and they have their joints are backwards and they got snarly teeth and.
Doesn't it have horns?
No, Wendigos don't have horns, do they? I have no idea.
I don't
It's
know.
all fake anyway.
I've always viewed them as more abstract than actual than a Skinwalker, because they're
Yeah.
from what
all
I
these
got,
ones-
they seem to be more of a cautionary. Hey, that's why you don't eat. That's why you don't
You don't
eat people.
cannibalize.
That's why you don't
Yeah.
cannibalize. This is what happens, kind of thing.
Okay.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a Wendigo is supposedly like what you turn into when you cannibalize.
So it's like something more cautionary, as
Yeah.
opposed to where, and I know Skinwalker is quite a loose term and it's used everywhere because it's something unexplained or something creepy, but in Navajo we call it Yenat Gloshi, which means with it they walk here and there on all fours.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay. Okay.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Ash, but isn't it kind of a taboo to really talk about them, though?
That's a lot of the elders say and all that stuff, and they say, I mean, I will say this, I wouldn't bring it up to some random Navajo if I met them unless I got to know them a little more, because it's it is kind of something dark and it's not something you just bring up to someone, but it is also a good source of ghost stories, that sense of having fun because you're spooking each other with that, sharing experiences and all this stuff.
Right.
I've yet to really actually meet a Navajo who doesn't share that kind of, fun and sharing some stories, or whoever were like, oh, you're not supposed to talk like that. You're not supposed to say that. And it's, I haven't met a Navajo that's like that. I mean, not that I bring it up all the time, but a little more cautionary what I do with that.
Yeah.
And also because you don't know who you're talking to. They could be one too. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. A little derail. So, compared to what, like I said, what people seem to think a skinwalker is and what I guess a full-blooded Navajo says one is, what's the differences? Well,
it's not a rake or anything like that. It's not something unexplained or something creepy or something spirity. Because, from, Max, from the past, when you and I had listened to stories, I got triggered by how, it's a skinwalker, or just because something is creepy. And if you go full-blown, as opposed to from my understanding, what an skinwalker is, it is a person, just a normal person, who practice witchcraft. Their Navajo form of doing it. They do their own traditions and their ceremonies or whatever, to take form of the animal, of particularly of the skins.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not some disfigured, like werewolf thingy or
half man, half beast thing.
Yeah, it's nothing really like that. It's actually a full blown person until, and again, this is where it kind of draws the line for most people. But it actually doesn't change into an animal. Maybe it's just a person who's out there naked, running around with some skin on, as opposed to thinking that they can really actually turn into an animal. So,
okay, all right. What when you listen to a skinwalker story, or I get you do. I've heard you listen to a lot of skinwalker stories.
Yeah.
What is a key thing that you hear that makes you think, like, what are some examples of things that you hear that make you think this is illegitimate, this is phony baloney? What are some trigger phrases that they pepper in there?
Phrases. I would have to say it's when there's a sense of over embellishment. They're trying to make it seem so creepy, or there's this there's one story that we came across, or that I was reading, and it says that especially if they say they're in different states, and again, other neighboring cultures might have their own form of shapeshifter or something like that, but when they say it's when they encompass the term skinwalker to cover a whole bunch of other things, when it just could be something else, or just a person could be making it up. But I think when they are off somewhere else, something that's when it really gets to me. Or when they say, just because there's Native Americans around, it's probably something like that. But from my understanding, when I'm speaking to skinwalker, I talk about the Navajo type, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the only one I've actually really experienced with.
Bigot.
But, I'm a bigot. Yeah, I'm a bigot. I'm a tribist, so
Tribist. A good band name.
Yeah.
Tribist.
Tribist. It is, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, but see, okay, all right. I'm gonna derail super quick. My hang up is that they're also people, and people can go wherever they want as well.
Yeah.
So why can't a Navajo be like, you know what? As you've taken trips, why can't one be like, one that happens to skinwalk, say, I'm going to take a trip to Houston, and while I'm there, I'm going to do some skinwalking around that area?
I would have to say, for what reason? I mean, from my understanding, what I gather, there's a reason why they would do it. It's they don't really bother non-Navajos so much, except maybe if you're passing through their area.
So you're telling me that there can't be one that's just like, just cause I can.
They would probably be progressive in that sense. I mean, hey, I mean, that seems like to be the big old thing now is progressivism. And hey,
hey, if it's the big thing now, it could be doing it.
Yeah, maybe, it's like, hey, man is woman, woman is man now, so, why not?
It's 2017, man. Why not skinwalk down the streets of London?
Yeah, why not? You know, stuff. My mom, she bless her heart, back a long time ago when Bin Laden was out there still alive and kicking, she said, "Why didn't someone hire a skinwalker to go find him?" And I look at her, and I'm like, and she was probably quite serious about it.
Well,
Because that is the thing. You can hire one to kill someone or make them sick or cause harm.
okay.
What if
So
I
the-
just wanted to hire one to give somebody a good feather rustling?
To spook them.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't know how you would do that. I'm always ask mom. There's always at least one in the family, and I'm not like actual nuclear family. Maybe there could be, but like the extensive family. Someone's cousin's cousin, someone's aunts.
Somebody
things
knows
like-
somebody.
Somebody
You know-
knows somebody, something like that.
Ash, the golden rule you've told me yourself is, and we mentioned it just a minute ago, is that they don't like to be talked about. The way you yabber on about skinwalkers kind of makes me think that you might be the skinwalker.
Well,
Throw this off his trail.
I guess you wouldn't know. I mean, these
I
people
don't know. You're not a very
online.
threatening one if you are.
Well, I mean, like I said, there's progressivism out there, so.
Kind of like the Nickelodeon version of a skinwalker.
Yeah. The Disney version, it's like a
Okay.
little.
All right. Well, okay. So, what's another thing that sets the story into phony baloneyhood for you besides location
There,
and when they try to ham it up?
it's when like what they describe it doing. If they're like, say, if they're like if there's an actual full they're gonna try to kill me, and there's one that's chasing you, kind of sense. That's not how they really operate. They're not really confrontive. They don't confront you directly. That's why they always go out at nighttime for the most part. That's why they always have paint themselves with clay or whatever and wear skins so they won't be recognized. Because if they're recognized and if someone knows them and they say their name, they will die.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Yeah,
A lot of risk in being a skinwalker.
it's and I guess whoever decides to make that misguided choice in doing evil will, to probably not see it that way. Hey, because it's always said that it's a way to get rich, a way to control things. Because
How
that's
you
what.
get rich being a skinwalker? Stealing trinkets?
That's what
Well,
I was gonna.
see, they do take like jewelry from the dead.
Like scare people out of their cars and then fucking haberdash. Not
Well,
haberdash, that's a whole
okay.
other term, but just fucking ravage the coin.
Well, no,
thing?
let's say here's the scenario. Like my grandma, she has her land. It's in her name.
Yeah.
For the longest time, things have always been happening. She's been trying to get a house put up there, but whenever she goes about trying to get the actual process done, things start happening. Like the people who help her end up dying,
Oh, jeez.
or she's told, "Oh, you can't see the papers to see that for some reason," or just odds and ends. I remember like well, I'm not gonna go to story time because that's just a little crazy. But yeah, stuff has happened, gone down when my grandma tried to get her house done, and it's all because she has the land. And for a while, things were really quiet because first it was, now this is just conclusion by deduction, because in the past it said that it came down to where it was my grandmother and her oldest brother, and all the other siblings were dead. She was 1 out of 14. They all died, passed away, and it just came down to who would have the land. Well, she got very sick for no reason, and that's another thing. They say you go sick and she goes to the hospital. The hospital says she's fine, there's nothing wrong with her, but she's always sick.
Yeah.
Well, then here comes her older brother coming asking. It's the way my grandfather said. It's the way he asked the questions. It's the form was, how is she doing? She doing good? And he was surprised that she was fine. It was just the way he did it. The way, he came around. It's like, hey, your sister's sick. You can't visit. But it's just the way he did it. He said that kind of ticked him off, and they decided to get a medicine man. The medicine man told him, oh, your brother's the one who did this, and I can send the curse back if you want me to. My grandma didn't want to, because even though this happened, but it was her brother still. But my grandfather told her, you should just do it, because he's just gonna keep coming back for you. So that's what the medicine man did. He did his prayer, and he sent the curse back. And
Interesting.
later on, her older brother died.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
And so it's just that reason. And if he did, then he would have gotten the land. He would have been rich in land. Or like if there's like
Right.
a court hearing, they would maybe hire someone to say evil prayers and to be in favor of the person who's being accused, something like that, or sense, or
Okay.
some deals. It's like it's just to influence
So they're
and
not.
control.
So they're not scaring people away from their cars and then stealing their rims off their cars to get rich.
No.
No.
Okay.
I've never heard of a story like that, but they do scare, but it's not in that sense. They're not, like I said, they're not so confrontational because there's a risk of them being seen and recognized.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
not like hopping out of the bush and making you go, "Oh, Jiminy Cricket," and jump out of your car and leaving all your valuables behind.
No, but like they the closest thing to being directive is when my sister was driving one time. She was being chased by by one, and she was driving along that 264, the highway, and it slammed into the doorway as she was speeding, and it kept up with her and slammed to the door.
That's kind of a tenacious one, is it not?
I was just trying to spook them or something, and then she was with my our niece and her relative on her mom's side of the family,
Uh-huh.
and they stopped at the Denny's right there.
That we went to?
Yeah, no. That was in Tuba City. This is in St. Michael's.
Oh.
They stopped there because they got in more public area and with more light, it left them. But yeah, I mean, it chased them because they were coming back from my grandmother's place, and it chased them along the dirt road. And in fact, the guy relative, my niece, he didn't believe in them at first until he first looked back and saw what was going on. He's oh crap. So there's a funny part where my sister had to stop momentarily as she was getting onto the freeway from the dirt road. And she had, you had to stop to meet she was incoming. It's surprising she had the frame of mind to stop, to still be safe in driving, to
Right.
turn onto the road. And at that moment she stopped, he looked back, and he saw it running behind him.
Oh.
And, catching up. And he was sitting in the way back of the van. He's, like, split second, he was from the back of the van to the very front between the two seats.
Yeah.
And from that point on, he was a believer. So... It's they'll do something in that sense, and this could even be a possibility for when we go back, Max.
Now, okay, when he looked back at it, what did he describe?
I never asked. She never described what he said. But what my niece said she described it when because before, like earlier the day before they were starting to be chased, my mom went up there. My sister went up there to drop off my uncle at my grandmother's place.
Yeah.
Because they just got him back from the hospital, so he could go home.
Yeah.
Well, they pulled up, and it was already nighttime, and she left the van running, and she went inside to take my uncle in to the cabin.
Right.
And she left. There was a dude, some other male relative, but I guess for some reason, he came inside, leaving our niece and her relative outside alone by themselves in the car. And as she noticed that, thinking that the guy would stay out there with them, she started going outside, and as she was going out, she heard them honk the horn and heard her name, Crystal. So she went out there, and she noticed they had turned the headlights on, and it was shining on something that was a black form way out there among the trees.
Like humanoid?
It was humanoid, yes,
Okay.
but they described it was tall and black. It was. Yeah, and so they just got, and it was, they didn't get curious like that, but they just got instantly spooked, so they turned around and took off, and I guess it followed them. It didn't really, it was just like messing with them. It would go off a distance and come back and just keep running beside them or something like that. It's a dirt road. My sister was driving a minivan. It's not you can go four-wheeling in this dirt road and go speeding. And you'll see the road when we go up there. It's not something you can really speed on, and have the van safe or whatever, something that's not built for that. But yeah, it's always described to where they can either be a tall black shape,
Yeah.
or there'll be someone who's has a some sort of like mud or clay painted on their face, rubbed over in some form. Sometimes it could be like just like dots, like I told you that one time my grandmother saw. They'll be naked for the most part. They'll have their hair, if they have long hair, it'll be all crazy looking and made to look all matty in their face, over the face.
Yeah.
They'll wear a skin. It could be a bear, coyote, sometimes a mountain lion.
All right.
Yeah, in that sense, there's always, it's not always some set form that they see, or it could be some odd-looking coyote that they'll see that doesn't look natural. The way it walks, the way it's, you can tell. My mom says you can tell when they're trying to imitate something that's true.
Now, see, this is kind of getting back into that territory of werewolfism. Like you say, it's not so much that, but when you talk about like a coyote kind of being weird, like you're kind of talking about that in a way.
See,
like I know it's not a man dog, but it is a coyote. That's like it. So this is where I get lost always, is because I can believe that there's wackos out there wearing mud in their eyes and pelts on their back, terrorizing people. That's totally cool. I have you so far,
Yeah.
But when you have one like changing form into another animal, that's where I'm like,
talking to Looney here. Who the fuck am I talking to?
Yeah.
Block button.
Yeah. So, I mean, so they can change form, like
it's what I've been told. That's what I come to believe. Yeah, I mean,
so you believe that a skinwalker can change form?
Yeah,
Okay.
a person. I mean, it's a person you can think take form.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think you're wacky dilly for that.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, Max. It's when it comes down to belief in this kind of stuff, it comes down to the whole, having faith in this. You were asking, well, how come skinwalkers don't go and prey on normal folk? I think a lot of it's because we're not susceptible to that kind of, belief. That superstition. We wouldn't. They wouldn't achieve that kind of not so much intimidation, but they wouldn't scare us as much, because we don't have that built-up fear and mystique about, these people who are practicing essentially, dark magic.
Uh-huh.
So, it's just like a school bully, you don't go pick on kids who are bigger than you. You go pick on kids who are little,
Right.
people
right.
that it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, because being white's a little superior, so they don't mess with white people.
Whoa! Okay, first of all,
Wow.
it's been said many times that the white man is very superstitious, okay? So if you plant the seeds of fear in the white man, he will fear. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I hear something go bump in the night, I freak out, so,
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
were saying this earlier, I'm scared of the shapes. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's scary, man.
Scared of the shapes.
And it's weird though. It's at this point it's kind of like a running joke. Like you'll see a thing online. It's just like, oh, haunted house. White people be like, oh, we'll buy it. Sign me up. And it just says something about cultures though. How we don't have that kind of like, oh, it's a taboo. It's superstition. If you tell us about it, we're just like, oh, that sounds neat. I want to get scared. We don't understand the whole, this could hurt you kind of thing. I realize I'm generalizing a lot, and that's a no-no in 2017 to do that. But I think a lot of people will agree with me though on
I
that.
was gonna say, like, how many black people did you see in Jurassic World? Like, there's no black people going to see dinosaurs, man. They know better. That's a white people place. That's like, let's go see dinosaurs. Yeah, that sounds thrilling.
Let's go back and see what that sound is. Let's look back as we're running.
Hey, gang, let's split up and look for clues.
Yeah. It's the Hardy Boy syndrome. It gets you in trouble.
Yeah, the Hardy Boys syndrome.
It gets you in a ruckus. That's for sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it's human nature to always kind of have that wanderlust.
Oh, my mom, she it's a perfect example of fear versus curiosity.
Right.
When she was younger as a kid, she would live out there, in just a cabin, with her younger brothers and sisters, and sometimes for long periods of time, my grandmother and grandfather wouldn't be there. It would just be the kids alone at the house, in the woods all the time. And
Great.
she said that she remembers every night when it gets they would start preparing for the night.
Yeah.
They would feed the dogs bees, so they'll be more mean and angry to protect the place. They would start. They would put bitter medicine on, take it every single night to protect themselves, and then they would lock themselves in the cabin and pile all the dirty clothes on them and wait. And every single noise they would hear, they would get spooked. Once the moment the dogs stopped barking, my mom said she remembers that terror she felt of hearing the dogs barking, and hearing that the heavy footsteps.
Jesus.
Sometimes it'll be on the roof, or it'll be just scratching the walls, all that, knocking the door on the window. And she said they only had one window.
Great.
And she said that even though, despite all the terror she had, she would leave a little peephole so she could look out, just because curiosity, so she could maybe just see it. She was afraid she'd see it, but she wanted to still see it.
Did she ever see it?
There are several times where she's seen it, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Now, okay, Ash, you mentioned before we started this that we might be able to have them on. Is that still a possibility? Or are they all mad at you? They all hate you by now.
They're all tired of telling you their stories now.
I could maybe get my sister on, my older sister.
Okay.
At some point, I'll get the new mic in for my phone, and we can maybe try that out.
Okay.
Don't show them the channel though. Don't show them the channel.
Oh, they've
already heard you guys.
No, ew.
Way too late.
Yeah, I've had to explain the reason why I'm going out to Kingman for the first time. Like, they're like, why are you going to Kingman?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to meet up with Max. Well, who's Max? Who's Zudi?
Internet sensation.
Yeah, and I said, oh, they're guys to talk to. I mean, that's occasion to bring up. I mean, they're again, my family, we're not traditional. We're Christian, so it's little taboo. Native Americans are Christians, so whatever. Suck it. Yeah, so we don't have.
Tell me to suck it.
No, I'm talking to the viewers who
To the world. He told the world, Max.
Like, whoa,
Billions and billions.
I didn't
and
say a
billions.
thing. He's like, suck it, asshole.
Suck it. Like a ninja, dude. He was.
No, we do enjoy like sharing that part of the spooky part of our culture to other people, to the quote unquote white people.
Okay, all right.
We like to have little whitey come along, and we can scare them with some spooky stories.
All right, Ash. Now, but I thought you said your mom said that she wanted to tell stories.
I did, but I'll explain that part a little later on when we're
She
not
hates you now.
when we're not recording.
She hates him now. All right.
I like how you didn't want this to get long-winded, and we've already passed 30 minutes, Max.
Well, all right, Kendall.
Well,
But
I guess it's done because Kendall's gonna be
Whoa!
sad.
Whoa!
thanks all because of Kindle, guys.
Whoa! Don't let me be the party pooper. I
He's
just
always-
happened
he's,
to open Audacity and I noticed
he's-
that we were running kind of long.
So, all right,
Raining in our
because
parade.
I have a plan. I'm not gonna put a montage. It's just gonna be one picture because I can't be bothered. That's my plan to keep this in check. All right, I'll make it so it kind of looks like an old TV or something, but that's all you're getting. All right.
Wow.
It's all right.
So much
Yeah.
effort, Max.
Yeah. Well,
I love it.
I've dropped like $1,000 to go out and look for one of these things. So
It's true.
Yeah,
Right.
it's gotten a lot more when we first talked about it.
it is a lot of effort. So
Yeah.
they can deal with one picture and listen to us.
Yeah.
By the way, that's why we're doing this, guys. In case you don't know, we're gonna go out and hunt for a Skinwalker in the beginning of April.
Yep.
We're gonna find one. Ash, you have your Skinwalker call?
I mean, I've
He's
been
like, yeep.
Maybe I'll get a whistle or something. I don't know. I mean, that's what my mom said. Unless we let people know or spread the word, we're probably not going to run into one. So that's why I kind of said, let's do a little something along the lines of, hey, we're going to go back home and try to do stuff at my grandma's home. That
Now,
always.
don't go into how, but you've already done some of that.
I have, yeah.
Okay, all right.
The replies have been kind of interesting.
Okay, all right. Well, that's great. Cool.
Well, I mean, is it going to be a real encounter then, though, or are you just stirring the pot?
I don't know. It's
Well,
it's see. I'll explain more when we're not recording.
from what I understand, he hasn't given an exact location, so it would almost take a skinwalker to get out to where we're going to be.
Yeah.
That's true. I've seen pictures of this place, and let me tell you guys, it is remote. I don't even want to go out there during the day. It would creep me out, honestly.
Well, you're gonna go up there in a day, so
Oh, I don't want to.
you're gonna have to, because you're gonna have to familiarize with driving up there.
Oh, jeez.
Did you just say familiar size?
Yeah, familiarize. It's just
Swear to God, you
sometimes
said-
my
I
savage
swear to
speak
your
comes
Christ,
out.
Dash, that you said familiar size.
It's just my savage speak comes out. To my Christ, he could be your Christ too, Max.
Familiar size.
Familiar
Oh,
size.
man. All right. It sounds like a candy bar.
Oh,
It sounds like a weight loss candy bar.
yeah. Like the one that has like that weird bitter aftertaste, where the first
yeah,
initial
it's
taste
a
is
weird,
bite is
like,
nice and
like
sweet.
Atkins aftertaste.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
kind of vitamin-y, grainy.
You put like, hey, here's a thought. Okay, so coyotes are canine family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you fed a skinwalker chocolate? Would he die if he's a coyote?
No.
Like
No,
the
'cause
anatomic. Like, what if when he's changed though? Like, wouldn't his anatomy be a coyote?
No,
That's-
because he's still a man on the inside.
Yeah, but he's got coyote parts.
On the
His soul
outside.
is man. His soul is man.
I don't know. I mean, if we were like badasses we were back in the old days where they hunted these people down, that we could get these questions answered.
Well, I mean, we just need us a net gun, a harpoon, and a couple road flares, and we got this.
Well, it has been known to maybe try to capture one. If we were really serious, we could try to get one.
I'm not that serious.
I mean, it would be. You would, there's, yeah.
I have a job to go to.
You got a
No.
hole to get to.
I'm not that serious. I don't want to catch a man. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this has been enlightening.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's okay? Make it like really fast, Dash. Like, give us the basic outline. What's the worst Skinwalker story you've ever heard?
That's like it's got to be, it's just there's different varieties of experiences. But I think the one if I were in that position, the most likely position where I'd be really freaked out was when because I'll probably mostly it'll be everyday kind of thing what I'm doing. It'll be like when we were driving back from back home to Phoenix, and we were going back from Holbrook. We were just left Holbrook, and there's another road that you can take. Instead of going to Sholo, it takes you down to Pinetop Overguard. I can't remember the name of this freeway over the road, but anyone who's gone, who takes the venture to go back home in Navajo will know what I'm talking about. This road. But it was late at night. I was asleep. I was maybe 6. My brother was younger than me, and we had my grandpa in the back. We were sleeping back there. My sister was driving. My mom was in the passenger seat. This place has hills. So occasionally, for a while, they would come across over one hill, and they would see a big old pile of dirt in the road. My sister would drive around it, thinking, weird. And then they would keep going. They would drive up the hill. There would be another dirt. This happened maybe several times. And they were like, what the hell? Who's putting all this dirt in the middle of the road? Well, they come over this last hill, and instead of the dirt, they see someone sitting in the middle of the road, facing them, like a frog. Its knees were up, to its side, and it had its arms, on the floor between its feet. And it was looking at them, just sitting there. She said that its hair was all over its face, had mud over its face, and obviously it's just it's a person sitting there, but it's like, what the hell? Who is this person naked sitting in the middle of the road? You could get hit. Well, they being what they knew what it was. So my sister stepped on the gas, veered around it, and they just hauled ass out there. They didn't say anything until we got to Payson. And they were like, "Mom, did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah, I saw it. What was it?" my grandpa was coming out of his little hangover. And he's like, "What's going on?" He asked him that. I was, "Oh, we just saw something. Oh, it's just a skinwalker. Let's just head up back to Phoenix." My grandpa was like that. He didn't really care so much. But yeah, I think if I was in put a situation, I'd be really spooked about that because I never really ride horses. That's another
Right.
story that happened. I don't really trek anywhere back home, but on the actual res. But I do make a trek occasionally to go back home and back here. And it's usually me driving. If I were to come across like this big old pile of dirt in the road late at night, and then see someone sitting in the middle of the road, like in that position,
Yeah,
looking
well,
feral and looking, I'd be like, "What the hell?"
all right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you kind of okay. Okay, so in a sense, you just told your best Skinwalker story.
In a sense, I mean, because it's more of like what I would most likely experience, and that'd be more scary for me.
Okay. Okay.
There's other
Because
ones
what
that I think would be more spooky, but I probably would never really experience that because I've never been in a situation.
was a good story. But what I asked for was the worst Skinwalker story, meaning the shittiest. So then you see, I was going to ask you what would be the best Skinwalker story. So you reversed me.
Reverse you.
So now tell me.
So what I do
So now,
next, I
so now
befuddle you.
tell me the worst example of a Skinwalker story that you've heard.
The worst. Okay.
Okay.
I was told by my niece, and she sometimes tends to have goes a little overboard with telling stories.
Okay.
Apparently there was this there's this old lady who lived with her husband way out there someplace near Chinle. Every night the old man would prepare tea for her and give her a drink, and she would fall asleep. Well, over the years, she began to suspect that, why is he always giving me tea and I would go to sleep? She began to suspect that he's drugging her and make her go to sleep.
Oh, jeez.
And, first a woman's inclination, who is he binging?
Yeah.
So she pretended to drink it and she went to bed, then she noticed he did slip out. And so, okay, what the hell? So she followed him.
Uh-huh.
And again, it's just, it has some elements that, okay, but it's just the way she said it that kind of maybe doubt it. It seemed a little too far-fetched. This is coming from someone who thinks someone could turn into a coyote.
Okay.
But, okay.
Right.
But the lady went walking and she followed him, not letting him know what's going on. And he comes to this cliff or to this
Right.
cave or something. No, there's no cave. There's just this face of this rock. And he like waves his hand or something. And it's like, I kid you not, it's like almost open sesame kind of situation. A opening appears, and he goes in this
Right.
solid rock kind of crazy looking thing. And she like, what the hell? So she follows him, and she sees there's other people in this cave, and they're like she sees it looks like from further they're in the process of putting on their skins.
Oh.
And it's like what she did, they run at it and then they roll. And as they roll into the skin, and that's how they get their skin on.
That's how they get the skin on.
That's how they get the skin on, it's not
All right.
and all that stuff.
Okay.
And then I can't remember that last part, but it's just the fact it was like it's like, what?
They have to do it somehow.
Well, no, I mean, you asked for the worst. That seemed like really worse for me because
Yeah,
like
it seems like a shitty kind of.
yeah, it's like what they roll into it, and they
roll
like and they do
get
like
real.
open sesame, and here a cave appears, and
Yeah.
it's like I mean,
Why does he gotta?
why do they
Why
gotta-
does she have to drug him to leave? Like she could be like, I'm going for a walk. Like, I'm going out. It's what I do. Like I work at night. Like just lie. Who cares? You're a
something, yeah,
skinwalker.
yeah.
Like you've already committed black magic. Just lie.
Yeah.
You don't need to drug people to go out and skinwalk. Yeah. It seems like a whole lot of trouble, a whole lot of money spent on to drug them every night. Yeah. There's huge plot holes there, Ash. Tell them that I don't approve.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like the plot holes. Like, what's the reason why? I mean, again, most stories are pretty short, but they're solid, I'd say.
Okay.
That
All right.
hurt.
Well,
Yeah.
so there's a good example and a bad example.
Yeah.
All right, Ash. Well, next time we have you on, see if your sister wants to tell some stories, some Skinwalker.
Yeah, because she's experienced these things like firsthand. And
Yeah, that's what I would like to really hear. And hope she understands that we're assholes.
Oh, she knows. I've had her. I've played like some of your videos with you, and the other guys, and I explained that you're a term of your guy talk. It's just guys talking.
I mean, we'll be nice.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
She's not you, so we'll be nice to her.
Yeah. That's a good.
All right. So there you go, guys. More Skinwalker stuff to come. I think next time we're going to talk about Skinwalker Ranch and exactly what that is.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
and exactly why it has nothing to do with Skinwalkers, as far as we can tell.
Plot
So-
twist.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
All right, Ash, can you give us like a nice red man's chant to get out on our way out? Hey, hey.
Wow, Max.
Dude, it's not even that racist because that's what's on their radio. What's the radio called, Ash?
Oh, yeah.
There's a KTN and AM 660 Voice of Navajo Nation, and there's
I-
also one in Gallup, and there's also
Yeah.
880, which is like the Christian version of that they play.
All right, if people listening, you think I'm being racist, but you turn on the radio station, you hear that.
Yeah, I've tuned in because Ash told me to, and that's what you hear.
Yeah. All right. Give us a little out, Ash.
I'm not gonna sing.
What about some Jesus Tell It on the Mountain?
That's you think I wouldn't know that, but I did know some of the lyrics to that, and I did sing for Max once. In fact, last night. No, it was the last time we spoke with Petty.
Two nights ago, I think.
Yeah, 2 nights ago. Yeah, but I'll say goodbye in Navajo, but that's about it.
All right, can you kind of sing it like a chant?
No.
Oh, jeez, Max.
Well, I just want some authenticity.
You first of all, you gotta give him the percussion, man.
Oh yeah. Boom, 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 boom.
No, it's just a
boom,
it's
boom,
boom boom. I don't know. I don't know how I'm getting involved. Hokone, that's it.
Okay. What does that mean, Ash?
And how do you do that in smoke signals?
No clue.
Max. Oh my
I think
gosh.
it's one smoke poof and then two smoke and the long smoke poof.
Like how he says poof.
Dude, you're gonna get us banned from the res before we even get there.
Oh. I don't know, man. I once commented back to Ash, show me efficient internet in that area of the country, and I'll sell you the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite surprised we haven't gotten an actual comment in the past video.
Yeah, right, because they don't have the fucking internet. All right, guys. I swear, we like Ash. All right, Ash is cool.
And
So-
I like these two.
Hey.
Hey, peace
And-
pipe. What?
And we like the Navajo culture and Native American culture for that matter, and we respect it
Oh, stop kissing ass. All right.
and also make a lot of fun of it.
I don't know about respect it. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next time. We'll see you next time on Skinwalker March, because March is like another word for walk. Get it? Skinwalk. Okay.
Whoa! Dang! Let's just hold out for 2 minutes and make it to 50, Max.